Welcome back, guys. In this video, we are going to talk about redirections in Linux. So we are going to unleash what may be the coolest feature of the command line, that is called IO redirection. The IO stands for input and output. And with this facility, you can redirect an input and output of commands to and from files, as well as connect multiple commands together into powerful command pipelines. To show this facility, we are going to introduce some new commands, and those commands are as follows. For example, cat that concatenate the files, and then sort, it sorts the line of the text. Then unique, it gets the unique text or values, it omits the repeated lines, and grep prints the lines matching in a pattern, and WC prints the new line. Word and byte counts for each file. Head output the first part of a file, and tail output the last part of a file. T, it reads from standard input and write to standard output and files. Let us now talk about standard input and output and errors. Many of the programs that we have used so far produced output of some kind. This output often consists of two types. First, we have the program's results, that is the data the program is designed to produce. And the second, we have status and error messages that tell us how the program is getting along. If we look at the command like ls, we can see that it displays its results and its error messages on screen. Keeping the Unix theme of everything is a file, programs such as ls actually send their results to a special file called standard output, often expressed as stdout, and their status messages to another file called error, standard error, and it is noted as stderr. By default, both standard output and standard error are linked to the screen and not saved into a disk file. In addition, many programs take input from a facility called standard input, noted as stdin, which is by default attached to the keyboard. Input-output redirection allows us to change where output goes and where input comes from. Normally, output goes to the screen and input comes from the keyboard. But with input-output redirection, we can change that. Now let us discuss redirecting standard output. Input-output redirection allows us to redefine where standard output goes. To redirect standard output to another file instead of screen, we use greater than redirection operator, followed by the name of the file. And question is, why should we do that? Because it's often useful to store the output of a command in a file. Let us now jump to our Linux terminal and let me show you how you can redirect your standard output in a file. So now we are in our terminal and let me show you the standard output using the lsl command. So we are going to type ls-l and then we are going to use folder usr and then bin, and then we are going to redirect it to a file. We can give the name such as ls-output.txt, and then hit enter. So now our lsl command has given the output of the user and then bin folder, and it is saved into our ls-output.txt. Let us now do one more thing and then hit enter. As you can see, we have a large file in the name of ls.output.txt. We can even read it with cat or ls command, right? So let me read it with less and then type ls output.txt. So it has all the long list of files and folders which are present in our bin folder. Let me clear the screen. Now let me repeat our redirection test, but this time with a little bit twist. I will change the name of the directory to one that does not exist. Right? I'm going to type lsl and then put bin and then usr and then redirect it to ls output.txt and hit enter. We received an error message. This makes sense since we have specified the non-existent directory /bin/usr. But why was the error message displayed on the screen rather than being redirected to file ls-output.txt? The answer is that the ls program does not send its error message to standard output. Instead, like most well-written Unix programs, it sends its error message to standard error. Since we only redirected standard output and not standard error, the error message was still sent on the screen. We will see how to redirect standard error in just a minute. But first, let's look what happened to our output file. I'm going to type lsl and then I'm going to check our file and then hit enter. The file now has reader length. This is because we redirected output with greater than redirection operator. The destination file is always rewritten from the beginning because we used greater than operator. Since our ls command generated no results and only an error message, the redirection operator started to rewrite the file and then stopped because of the error, resulting in its truncation. In fact, if we ever need to actually truncate a file or create new empty file, we can use a trick like this. Tricks such as greater than and ls output.txt. And if I type ls, the time has been updated now, as you can see in here. It means this command created our new file. So how can we append redirected output to a file instead of overwriting the file from the beginning? For that, we use double greater than sign. We will use this sign greater than to append the file instead of writing from the new one. Let us now try with an example. I'm going to type lsl and then I'm going to put usr slash bin. Let me type here slash as well and then greater than symbol and then space ls dash output.txt and hit enter. Using greater than operator, we will result in the output being appended to the file. If the file does not already exist, it is created just as though the greater than operator had been used. Let's put it to the test. I'm going to use same command for 2 or 3 more times to see what happens with our file. Enter. I'm going to use the same command again and hit enter. And then I'm going to test ls l and see what happens with this file. The size probably will be large. As you can see, the file is pretty large right now if we compare it with the first instance on the top. So it means file has been updated again and again with greater than symbol instead of rewriting it. Let us now talk about redirecting the standard error. Redirecting standard error lacks the ease of a dedicated redirection operator. To redirect standard error, we must refer to its file descriptor. A program can produce output on any of several numbered file streams. While we have referred to the first 3 of these file streams as standard input, output, and error, the shell references them internally as file descriptors 0, 1, and 2, respectively. The shell provides a notation for redirecting files using file descriptor number. Since standard error is the same as file descriptor number 2, we can redirect standard error with this notation. The same example as I have presented you with the lsl command for the bin and usr folder. So this is going to give us the error. Let us now jump to our Linux terminal and put these commands into work. So now we are in our Linux terminal. Let me show you examples for redirecting the standard error. First, we are going to type lsl and then put the bin folder and then usr, and then we're going to put the descriptor 2 and then greater than symbol, and then going to put ls-error.txt and hit enter. As you can see now that the error message did not display on the screen, but it redirected to the our output file. Let us now read our file that contains the error and hit enter. As you can see, it shows us that it cannot access bin and user directory because there is no such file or directory. So our standard error has been redirected to the our output file. Let me clear the screen. So question is, how can we redirect standard output and standard error to one file? There are cases in which we may wish to capture all of the output of a command to a single file. To do this, we must redirect both standard output and standard error at the same time. There are 2 ways to do this. First, the traditional way, which works with all versions of the shell. Let me show you. We're going to type lsl/bin/usr and then redirect to our ls output.txt, and then we put the descriptor for error and for our standard output 1. Using this method, we perform 2 redirections. First, we redirect standard output to the our output file, and then we direct file descriptor 2 standard error to the file descriptor 1, which is standard output, using the notation of 2 greater than and 1. So let us now once again read our file ls.output.txt. So as there is no such file and directory, the standard error has been saved in our output file because we used descriptor 2 for our output file. To quit, press Q. Clear the screen for you. Now let me show you the other way of doing the same as we have done in previous example. We are going to use ls and l and put slash bin slash usr and operator and then greater than and then ls output.txt. This example, we use the single notation and greater than to redirect both standard output and standard error to the file. You may also append the standard output and standard error streams to a single file. So let's first execute this command and read over output file. It will contain error message because there is no such file or directory. So we see the error message. We can also append this uh, output file using double greater than sign here. So it means if we want to append instead of creating a new file, we can use both operators at the same time. Let me now talk a little bit about unwanted outputs. Sometimes silence is golden and we don't want to output from a command. We just want to throw it away. This applies particularly to error and status messages. The system provides a way to do this by redirecting output to a special file called /dev/null. This file is a system device called a bit bucket which accepts input and does nothing with it. To suppress error messages from command, we can use this operator. For example, we can use lsl and then slash bin slash usr and then two greater than operator. We can throw this to our dev and null. So it means we will not be able to see our error message in any of the output file. We can dispose it because we don't want anything with this error message. The bit bucket is an ancient Unix concept, and due to its universality, it has appeared in many parts of Unix culture. When someone says he or she is sending your comments to /dev/null, now you know what it means. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this video. We have learned how to use greater than operator for standard output into a file. We have also learned how to use double greater than operator to append the standard output into a file instead of rewriting the whole file again. We have learned how to get standard error using the file descriptors such as input, output, and error, and how to get standard output and standard error in a single file using greater than, with, and operator. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.